All right, good afternoon, traders. Happy Friday, everybody. Hello, John. Good to see you. It's always light Friday right at the beginning. Sometimes we have like 15, 18 people like in the first minute. Everyone's in. Sometimes we only have six or seven and then we get there slowly. Friday seems to be one of those days. I get it. Sandy's like, what are you talking about? It's Saturday morning. My week is done. Good afternoon from Texas. What bring Texas to visit family? Not in Georgia. Georgia. It's probably hot. Good day, mates. Granddaughter, 1 year old. Very nice. Very hot. Australian. The only thing I know when I think Australian is Foster's, Australian for beer. I don't see those ads anymore. Maybe I just don't watch TV and see them. Maybe do they still exist? Vladimir, good to see you. And throw another shrimp on the bobby. Sandy, am I getting it right? Mm, that's you might be thinking, am I going to pull out my Crocodile Dundee? No, that's a little old. Sandy said yes. Mm. Well, we've been talking about some trepidation in the market. I believe that there's, even though the market posture had held up, just the organic nature of how this is moving, we didn't put as many trades on here recently. Um, yeah, the day to day is always harder, right, Stephen? I mean, you just can't tell. The jobs report came back weaker than expected. This Chrissy will have a Bobby in the Brissy. Love it. Yeah, yeah, it's interesting to look at the downward revisions. We talked about the fact that everyone was thinking, oh, with this inflation report, the want to, we don't see an ability to lower rates. But then we said we have to wait and see the jobs report because the jobs report leads us to the needs to. Do I want to cut the rates? Do I need to cut the rates? And Trump's been working on a wants him to. And the wants him to only can line up with the needs to. Or if the feds, I mean, it's still a vote of 7-2, right? You'd have to fire a lot of people to get that majority to get the cut until now. And then what? Now that we saw that the Fed's job is to curb inflation, maintain strength in the labor market, jobs and inflation, right? That's their core functions. So if they sense that weakness, then there's a reason to say, oh, you know what? Now we have to balance that. It's not ideal where it is, but we can't choke the economy out. We gotta air it out a little bit and let it, you know, don't sputter it. So we gotta lower the rate. So yeah, okay, we'll look at it and see. Maybe they should shut, right? The way the data comes out, it's all, on a cadence. So there's just not much we can do, but you're right that there's an influence there, right? I mean, most definitely. Okay, let's get started. I need to hit record and let's go. Nope, that's not it. Let's get going. Mhm. Did you have a lot on? Is it holding up what you have on? Did you remove stops in the morning to let things breathe? I hope. Good afternoon, officially. Welcome to Market Watch Group Weekly Market Wrap. I'm Scott. I'll be your host. As always, what we're going to do is for education illustrative purposes only. Nothing should be intended or construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any financial product. Any decision you make is done at your own risk. Today we'll look at the market. We'll revisit the posture. Okay, what's going to happen? I think we're going to have a negative volume day, which could suck us to a zero. It could pull us down to a zero on volume. That would be a pullback. As far as short term, long term, there's nothing there. We're not going to be like, oh, we dropped 1.5%. What are we going to do? The sky's falling. It's not falling. We're fine. In fact, what we think is, well, this can still lead to then making the right decisions, which would be the Fed starting to consider a rate cut due to the fact that there's now labor market weakness. Perhaps as the administration sees that, the tariffs are impacting things, they will dial back the aggressive approach. I don't know. What else? Mindset for trades over the weekend. I would imagine that whatever remaining bullish trades you had are probably closed or about to be closed. What to look for next week? We'll look at the news. We'll look at our opportunity list. We'll wrap up risk management. We'll go from there. Let's get into it. So should Trump dial back the aggressive approach? I mean, obviously the market responds favorably when he does, right? He responds favorably when he does, or the market responds favorably when he does. And so, yeah, I kind of think that there's something there for that to happen. I don't know. That's my thoughts. Some people think, oh, you got to see the big picture. I don't think tariffs have any big picture efficacy to speak of. But yeah, that's just me. Good afternoon. Am I sharing my screen? Should be shared. Are you seeing my screen, everyone? There you go. Okay. Yeah, there's the market. What do we know about what's going on? DKR Blue. Are you coming in under a new name or are you new? And that's your handle. I love it if that's what it is. If you're new, welcome. Glad to have you. Volume. We've had 3 volume days. Would I take off some hedge? I might, if I have like 3 contracts, I might take one. Okay, there you go. 25 to 30%, 3 to 4 to just lock in a piece of this with the spike because we know how weekends can be, right? Absolutely, that should be a consideration. Kent Ross better than iPhone. Okay. Okay. Kent, good to see you. Good to see you. We got to move an S. I don't have one since way back here. Let's duplicate that text note and bring it over. Love it. Love that you're new. Love that you're chatting with us. Feel free to make observations, ask questions. Fabulous group. Yeah, right. Walks upstairs, falls out windows. We know how it goes. Yeah. Kent, you and me both. Lots of learning ahead. Always learning here. Okay. Yeah, big sell day today. Big sell day. At least we're not on the lows, right? Is this a trend breaking sell day? No. Absolutely not. And that's why Miguel's thinking, hey, you know what? If this thing just finds some support through here into next week, it's a good time to take a piece. And then if it finds some support, you take some more. And as it starts to bounce, you wrap it up. And that way, as long as if it ever then reaccelerates, then there's still a little bit on and might actually trigger getting a new piece as well. So again, what would have caused the hedge? We didn't get a hedge signal, but what we did have was a very low VIX. Let's jump over to the VIX. When we have a VIX down at its lows, then the question becomes how much do you have on? As we were sitting here, this was a lower low, but we start talking about this bounce saying, now we're going to have a higher high. We broke this high. We're all the way back to this one. It's not a huge reset. We're still at 21, and 21 is not that bad. 21 in a market when we have a little bit of a sell-off is actually quite bullish. If you go back to 2017, back into like 2010 through 2013, 14, when there's some real solid bull markets, you have a VIX that lives between like 12 and 16 and then spikes to 2023. Beautiful. If this is as bad as it gets, we're going to be processing this, favorably. Right now, our posture is going to dial back a little bit. We recognize that. It's going to say, "Woo, hold on." Is it going to all of a sudden get to bearish? Of course not. Maybe we pull back from 5.5 to 4.5, and we're like, okay, there's a little bit of an ebb. If it's not much of an ebb, then what do we think? Then the next flow. And so we're not gonna overthink this and over predict. But if you had a good amount of bullishness on, the more bullish you had, the more likely you are to hedge. If you only had a couple of trades, I had someone say, I only have two. I wouldn't hedge two. I said, if you feel like it's gonna you see enough weakness to turn speculative, then you put it on. Then it hedges the first little bit, but with only two trades, you're likely to close those down pretty quickly. Then you're neutral. And then we just wait and see. But this is why we have those conversations. Because by the time it happens, you're like Miguel said, fall out the window, right? Fall out windows. Okay. Okay. Would have loved if we would have had like the ability to want to put something on. The only thing's really moving right now, and we watch them, right? Let's go look at Reddit. Reddit looks magnificent. You're like, oh, look at Reddit. I believe somebody had one contract that they kept through earnings. If you're here, please stand up, take a bow, or a curtsy, whoever it is. Make it a flamboyant bow with a lot of hand gesturing. Walmart doing well. It did break out of that sideways channel, right? Or am I missing? Did I? No. Got to the top of the sideways channel. A little bit overextended in that range. Okay, so let's go look at some things. What's going on? Trump says he'll fire the Bureau of Labor. Is it BLS? Bureau of Labor of Statistics? I believe that's what it is. Now I have to know. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Okay. Gonna fire the commissioner. I know, right? Sandy's over there just laughing like, you gave out a bad report, you're fired. This is the America has been turned into The Apprentice. Wave. Um, Stocks bundle under pressure from the job report that was underwater. What else? Canada team. The Trump slowdown is here. Maybe that's an opinion piece. Tesla found liable in Florida autopilot. Why this report is a game changer. A lot of opinion pieces of people spitting out their sky is falling theories. Look, it's negative, but let's all relax. I don't see much else besides that. Bitcoin and Coinbase. That's an interesting one. That was one that was going pretty heavy. One that we thought, hey, is this sets up? Maybe, but oof, they got hit. Let's go look at BTC down 3%. It's not that bad. ETE for Ethereum? No. ETH futures also down more like 5%. Circus, he's the head clown. Oh, Good stuff. Yeah, it's interesting for sure. Let's go look at let's go look at the calendar just so we know what's coming up next week. Uh, Not much. Factory orders, nothing there. Trade deficit, no one, I mean, maybe we'll look at that. Nothing scheduled for Wednesday. Typical jobless claims on Thursday. Nothing Friday. So, yeah, some earnings maybe still, but we're a little bit light on, the next round of data. What do we know is going on right now? Speculation on the next Fed. If only there was a Fed named Fred. September, and now look what happened. And I'm gonna agree. Now we have a 5-to-1 almost expectation. I'd say that means it's more like 2-to-1 for the time being. The market always gets a little crazy. We've seen that as we've watched this indicator through the last couple of years. But the expectations clearly have shifted because it's no longer about, hey, inflation's down and we want to lower rates as a result. There's concerns about the labor market and we need to lower rates to try to stay in front of that. Okay, fair enough. Where are you guys at in the September camp? Let's go look at October. October, you can see they're thinking, well, there may be two now. Now there's only 4% of people who think it's going to stay where it is. And then we have almost 2-to-1 that we get a second cut. I do think that if we get the one, we'll probably get a second. They may wait and go September, December, or they may just hit it twice in a row and then watch December and then start back again the first of the year. I would actually say if they do September, more likely than not, they'll do it in October and then just let it ride. Let it ride. Okay. Okay. Let's go look through our watch lists and see how everything's holding up. AAP. You can see it's sitting just right on top of the 50. It's right at this old resistance. I would usually characterize this as a sell-off more than a pullback, but the fact that it has the confluence of like the moving average and these old highs, I would still put myself as a maybe. Apple, Apple had better than expected earnings, but obviously they tempered their guidance, which leads to this bearish engulfing pattern. Now, we took out this old low here. Um, we may see this thing come all the way back down and retest 195. At that point, if that's what we see, it would be a little while before I'd have the ability to trade this, right? If this thing just kept coming down, I would need to have the consolidation break, come back, higher low. That that's what I need once I move into this consolidation type pattern where you're like, that's not a pullback, that's bigger than a pullback, right? You can say like something like this. What do we need it to do? Go up, pull back, higher low. That would be tradable. And then you're out before earnings. Yeah, there's a higher low here as well. Um, and then you're kind of waiting, and it's you can kind of see it's Apple's not been super tradable this last 6 months. Okay, fair enough. Okay, whoops. Let me erase these drawings. Amazon. Oh, Amazon. Same thing. 133 expected, 168 actual. Made money, but tempered the guidance going forward. Tempered the guidance going forward. APH still looks fantastic. Absolutely still willing to trade this, waiting for this to pull back. I'd say all the way to 100, I'd be fine. Pull back to here, turn around, bang, that's a new trade. That's fine. If we have this consolidation, then let's see what happens. This one, same thing. We're still kind of holding this support level. The fact that this gap down sold off but recovered to this point, this old high, new support at 53, still in check, still in place. AXP credit stocks have lost a little bit of their luster. Um, I think we're gonna have to be patient. They're in consolidations, lower lows. Bank of America tried, started to settle, and then failed. Now we're going to see if it holds this support or not. Beyond sell off, pullback. I think it's still viable. It's real close to this old one. Still on top of the 50. That's a maybe. Citigroup. Citigroup held. The trend is holding. It's a long tail hammer type pattern. Not much head, but you see what happened. It opened, it sold off, came all the way back. I would actually still think to myself, there's a very good chance, let's draw this across. There's a very good chance that this thing pops down and then like gives an engulfing pattern here and you're like, "Okay, is it ready?" And then when it does this, you're like, "There it is." That's what I'm looking for. And this thing could waver a little bit and then make that turn. Okay. Okay. Still willing to trade based on what I see for the trend on this one? Absolutely. Absolutely. Caterpillar. I would say that this is pulling back to be tradable, except for the fact that next week there's earnings pretty, I think it's probably actually here. Yeah, it's closer to that one, the first one. 2 days. Nothing there. No time. Chemical. Okay. Earnings were great. Gapped up, sold off, engulfed. I'm still okay with this. This trend is holding up. It's still a higher low. As long as it stabilizes and tries to find its bounce off the 50, then that's viable to us. CLS, fabulous on earnings. Now it's pulling back. Great. Great. We'll see if it fills the gap at all. I would say if there's a trade developing, it's going to find itself in here. And you might think that's a high volatility stock, Scott. Yes, it is. So if you're someone who's like, I have no problem trading high volatility stocks, well, then this is right up your alley. But if you prefer not, well, then yeah, hold off. CNM. Oh, setting up. We watched it, but we literally saw it as this happened. I'm not a big fan of trading things that jump onto my watch list day of. Now looking back, I'm like, oh, I totally should have. Oh, fine. This is a great looking trend. You can kind of see how this is lining up in here, looking good. Getting ready for an early week trade. Capital One, like the other credit, iffy. Coinbase, real iffy. We'll keep watching. Coupang broke the 50. We were looking for this to find a trade right there, and it just couldn't do it. We needed this, and we got kind of the opposite. And once you got the opposite, this broke apart, and now we're down here. Now it feels more like a consolidation, especially now that it broke below the 50. You also have earnings in a couple of days, so no opportunity. Cisco, it just sputtered, pulled back. Man, we got to wait. We got to wait and see what it's going to do. DoorDash. DoorDash is doing all right, but earnings, you can see there's still plenty of earnings coming next week. Still a lot of information coming from corporate America next week. Here's the Dow down 1.25%. It'll be interesting to see how the Russell stacks up. Are the small caps holding up a little better because the interest rate conversation is changing. Expedia, I'd still call it viable, but you got earnings, so you don't have a lot of time. Ford now in consolidation. Futu Holdings. I was hoping it would have held, but I'm going to give it to this halfway point of this big candle, this kind of breakout candle, still above the 50, where I would be like, you know what? I still am going to give it a chance. It's a high flyer. Again, when you see a higher flying stock like that, you've got to decide, do I have the stomach for it? Am I mentally prepared for it? GE looking like a great setup here. Anything between, let's say, 256 and 266. There's a window in here for us for a pullback. I'd slow down a little, but anything that's still uptrending, we're going to give it its dues. GE Vernova, just still holding up. I'd need more pullback than that. Gold, we were thinking about gold and talking about it. It's popping today. Wasn't much of an entry. It's really kind of sideways, to be fair. Google, I was thinking Google looked kind of flaggish, but now I'm like, no, it doesn't. Does look like a fine opportunity developing. We'll draw our box in here, which includes this old high above the 50. So if it comes down and then turns, boop, that's what we're looking for. If it does it earlier than that, okay, this we'll look for this to turn, and I think Google's got an opportunity for a trade next week. Still looks quite strong. Goldman looks okay, but pulling back. Hasbro, iffy. Robinhood, iffy. Howmet, oh, it's so choppy after earnings. We still need to let that price action settle down a bit from the post earnings movement that we see. IBM still getting battered. Invesco, maybe a setup developing for us. Now, if you're in any of these, if you're thinking about any of these, if you just closed any of these and you want to discuss what happened or what you could have done differently, certainly live examples are our favorite. Let us know. But when I look at this, and if you're an Elliott wave person, we tend to look for three waves. So coming out of this little consolidation, we'd have wave one, wave two, and then hopefully a wave three. And if it's getting more parabolic, there's some movement there that I'm interested in. IWM. Yeah, interesting because the small caps are actually down 2%. The Dow is 1.25. I don't know. The market's not, in my opinion, pricing in a strong expectation of a interest rate change as of now, if you ask me. I think that I would have expected a little bit more, to be fair. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. Joby. Joby's trying to hold up. It's got earnings. Not much you can do there. Levi, sell off continues. We wondered if it was going to stabilize or not. The answer is no. Love. The answer is no. So this isn't a great example of one. I would never try to call the bottom here. People are like, look, the stochastics is maybe going to turn. I don't care. This is in a consolidation. It needs to break up and really, like, I would say maybe this halfway point of this candle, at least take that out, come back down, give me a higher low. Bam, we're in business. We're in business. Let's go. Um, Other than that, nah. Wait, who was that? What am I doing here? More as in higher trends, like higher highs and higher lows. Is that what you mean, Kevin? The trend is the right. So higher trend would mean I expect this to go higher because I just had higher high, higher low, higher high, and now I think this is coming in here to give me a higher low. And if it does, then my pattern recognition says I should be looking for something over here. Bam, there's my trade, right? And so any of those, that's what I'm kind of meaning with that higher. What am I looking for? Something that's maintaining its momentum. Okay. But LVS looks great. Meta looks great. They had a strong report based on some like unexpected positivity. New high. Now what? Now I'm waiting for this to come back, see if it's going to come in here, find some support for a higher low, and then think to myself, where's the next higher high? Somewhere up there. That's my entry. That's my reward. Stop loss down in this area below the support level that it's bouncing off of. There's my risk. There's my hopefully 3 to 1. Bada boom, bada bing, as they say. As who say, you might be wondering. I don't know, the Italians. I would assume. Morgan Stanley, sideways. I like Goldman Sachs better in this regard. Microsoft, big earnings report, gap up, couldn't hold it, dropping back down, about to fall right back into this previous pattern. But at least it tells us it can get there. It's like, hey, we're there. If it pulls back and gives me a support level around this 520 level, I got 35 ahead of me, maybe 10 below me, and I've got 3.5 to 1. That seems reasonable to me. Micron. That's why we don't. This is in and was in a consolidation here. So when we got to this point, we're not like, oh, maybe it's bouncing, even though it's on the 50, because it's been consolidating so long. So even right now, it's got to come back up to here, go up higher, take out this high, catch it on the next test. Bam. You can see you don't have to wait that long sometimes. Up, down, higher, low, right there. That's it. That's it. Higher, low. And then we could trade this next one. And we did trade this one. And I think no, let me see. No, we only traded one of those, I think. So yeah, what are we waiting for? We're waiting to see if this thing finishes up. Patience. Don't be hasty. Netflix. Got to be patient. I'm not looking to see like, is it now time? Is it now time? That's not what we're doing here, right? This is in a consolidation. My expectation is that's going to keep going until it breaks it. Once that happens, that's point number 1. It's good to go through this. We haven't needed to go through this for a little while. Then what? Then I need to see it make some sort of a run that indicates the buyers did something. If it only gets back into like this low area, then I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But if we get that upper point, we get point 2, then what do I need? Then I need this next low to be higher than the previous low. That's point 3. Point 3 is green light, go. Green light means go, right? That's what I'm looking for. Lovely. NVIDIA. This one had a good run. You probably took some profit, shut the rest down. Now looking for another opportunity. That's what I'd be doing if it were me. Pagaya. Still looks like an opportunity, but we have earnings, so we probably won't have the ability to do that one. Palantir gave back. We were right before earnings anyways, right? This was it. Took the, I already had some profit. I know a lot of people had already booked out, gave back some, still was slight profit even today. NVIDIA puts doing well. Okay. When did you get that one put on? A day trade that you got in today? Are you holding it overnight? Over the weekend? Good stuff. QQQ. Quite a pullback, but we have plenty of room to have that pullback. We had been going up, up, up. You can just see walking up the stairs, tra la la, having some fun. Boom, fall out the window. It's not a big window. You didn't even fall from the second story. You just fell out the window. Brush yourself off, get up and get back in the house. QS. Uh, Still sitting on top of the 50, but it's so hard because it's like, is that a pullback? It's a big pullback. Roblox, big old gap up. Miguel, did you close early enough to get a big piece of this? And then it gave back, and now it's giving back. And you might think, oh, I don't know. There's so many sellers. Nice. If it pulls back like this, and then it turns, and this basic trend structure holds, great. Easy prediction to 250 to 150. It's like 25 points. Put my stop down here, 5 points. I can get a nice 4 or 5 to 1. Lost money on earnings. Well, here's the deal. And they did lose worse than expected, but something in their butt, right? Think about how many times we've seen people make money and the but going forward, we don't think is as good. And everyone's like, what? All I heard was going forward isn't as good. I'm out of here. And we see it drop. They crushed their current expectations, but if they lower their guidance, market's going to dump it. Same thing. They could miss, but if they raise guidance, people are like, we forgive you. We forgive you. Let's be friends. Reddit crushed earnings and must have said something good about their going forward, their guidance, because they definitely crushed it. Rocket Lab, it's a new trade. Still has some time. I'm sticking with it. It didn't. I mean, I took my stop off, held on. It got back a lot of it. It's really barely down from the entry. Stochastics looks fine. As we look at earnings coming up and Rocket Lab doing well, I think, oh, this thing could catch a little bit. We will hypnotize more kids and teach them to ask for higher money, right? It drives me insane. They're like, I need a pack. What do you mean? Just play the game. You can't just play the game. You got to buy extra things, accessories, and packs, and nonsense, and tomfoolery, and garbage. I think to myself, why would people buy things called tomfoolery and garbage? Nonsense, I get it. We could all use a little nonsense now and then. Staying with it, Miguel says. Staying with it, Steven says. Agreed. That looks like it has plenty of momentum and prospect. Agreed. RTX had a great trade back here. The alert came out, believe, here, and we just sort of rode. I know I rode longer than a lot did on this one. What? I get to brag sometimes too. I encourage you guys to brag when you hold longer. I'm just saying. Got out prior to earnings. Good. Did not. I did not trade that earnings move. That was a lot of volatility. You'll notice that you're like, oh, if you got in here, you got nothing. If you got in here, you got the next day, but it's tough. That's a tough entry. Did anybody pull the trigger on this second move here? All I know is now I have a great window for the next one of these things? Yes. Yes. Yes, I say. Silver. It's a possibility. Held to 50. Moving the stop loss short is not it. Okay. Yeah. That's a constant pursuit. I'll tell you that. Yeah, no, I definitely will. And you know, the waiting till the end of the day is going to be contextual to market conditions, right? It's going to be contextual to market conditions, meaning, you know, if I have a better posture, I'm going to hold, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to take losses easily. That's kind of the if I was a 1 or a 2, I'd be like, I'm out of here. Screw this. We're gone. But when we have a little bit more strength underlying, then I'm like, okay, let's relax. It's gonna suck a little. Don't try not to watch it. Come back, see how we did. You could put some alerts in, have the initial stop. Amen. Amen to that. I won't move it. I will move it once it hits a certain point, right? So in the first few days, I'm just waiting for it to kick into its momentum stage. Once it kicks into the momentum stage, then I am likely at the end of each day to tighten it up, looking for places to scale out, etc. Yeah, great questions, great conversation. Spy, there's the pullback on the volume. 10-cent music, I wanted. I still think it's viable. We just are running out of time to have a window before earnings. Maybe we can get into this depending on how Monday looks. Tesla. Tesla is kind of chopping around, very politically suspect these days. TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor, still looks fine to me. You know, it's pulled back, but it's well, every pullback has recovered. We now have two in a row where it's a little bit more sideways, so we're not just blindly like it's always going to go higher. I'd rather go to the well one too many times than one too few with a positive expectancy. That's my thought. Okay. Okay. Uber. Uber's a Uber's in debtor's prison right now. Yes. Up. Bullish dollar pulling back a little bit. Today's VIX. We already saw this. So let's sort of talk about what our expectations are. Okay. Market posture. Let's just sort of prepare ourselves. We talked about what next week brings. Um, 8-3. Can you believe it's August? That's crazy. How did it become August? Oop, I thought I saw a symbol to look at, but I must have missed something. Walmart. When we saw it, I thought pushing resistance. Yeah, that makes sense. If you own some, selling some makes a lot of sense, actually. A lot of sense. I agree with that completely. It's really sideways now. Long-term trend 1.25. Is that going to change? Here, I'll pop into Walmart on my way through. Yeah, right? I mean, really struggles the closer it gets to 100. Really struggles. SPY 98.50 now. Let's pop out to the weekly. And remember what we said. This thing could pull all the way back to here and then bounce. And I'm like, red line still, it's still fine. If it pulls back and bounces sooner than that, then I might be like, ooh, you know, this feels like maybe. Trend line 15. Can I move this one? Do I have multiple? Nope. So if this were to pull back, um, and you can see that's not bad. That's kind of in line. So if this pulls back and somehow like tags this and turns, I'm gonna be like, ooh, maybe. This is not worrying at all. Of course it's gonna pull back. That's how markets work. Of course it is. We don't just think things move higher and higher and higher and never. Come on, that's not how we think. This one, um, I think that this basic trend is still intact as of now. If we go lower next week, then I'd be like, oh, now it's starting to look iffy. But this is still fine. Remember, we only have this scored at a 1.25 out of three. Out of three. So it's just not that concerning. Um, sorry. Let me go to this one. I was like, wait, what am I doing? Let me get, yeah, it's Friday. My ADD is kicking in. It happens. What's going to happen to our score here? We have one buy that's going to be stale and we're going to throw it out. And then we have tie, sell. I'm taking it to a zero. At best, it's like a 1, 1, 3, seller, buyer. But this is too stale. So it's going to be 1, 0, and 3. That's not a tie. That's leaning a little towards the sellers. That's a zero score. What are we now? We're a 0.25. So I think that's going to drop. That's our first hit. Major market, I have marked yellow. I'm going to mark this one a bright yellow to flag me that it needs a serious. No, I'm going to go red. I'm going to go red. This needs to be looked at. I think that's going to drop. I Here these are yellow because I thought I was like, I may be getting a little ahead of myself. I think that happened. And this is going to drop by at least a quarter of a point. By at least a quarter of a point. Let's go back out. So I think we're going to drop back into the fours. Is that huge? Nah, minus 0.75. It's not great. It's not outrageous. If the next week we lose another 0.75, I'm like, okay, that's reasonable. If it accelerates from a 0.75 to a 1, 1 and a quarter, then we're like, oh, I don't love that. Um, Wait, what was I doing here? Back to the VIX. Thoughts on posture? Yeah, we're gonna lose a quarter of a point for breaking that high. I'm projecting a 4.75. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. If that holds up, it's really back into the entry to this little foray when it broke out a little bit. So if it can hold up there, great. If it falls from there, then we're going to be a little bit more like, ooh, I don't know. And lastly, and for those of you who are joining us new, this is something that we work on every week. We call it the trading plan loop. We have a trading plan. I'm going to bring over and show you where all this material is for those of you who maybe don't know. It's got 8 sections. So every 2 months, we go through one section at a time. Right now, we're halfway through. We're on section 4. So we're really focusing on um, uh, the risk management section. So let's talk about that. Miguel says, "I've been through a decent number of red days. Proud to say that it's a green day." Yeah, something to say in stock selection and risk management. I mean, we hear that if we do those things, we can make it better for ourselves. So we may as well try. I mean, it makes sense. I love it. That's a beautiful, beautiful bow. In my mind, you did 3 little circles with your hand as you were coming down. It was very elegant. Well done, sir. Okay. Where do you find this? You find it here. Let me bring this over. And you're going to go to over here under alerts and resources. You're going to go to, I should just call this resources. Um, I should call this, you'll go to group downloads. Group downloads. What do you have here? You have the trading plan outline, and then you have a trading plan that you can use as a guide. So both of those are available to you. Just click it, download it. You have a market posture log. Download your own. It's a clean version. Then you have the historical, so you can actually just copy and paste. It's nice to actually have a historical running of these numbers, so that you can be like, well, what did this look like back in the when this market did this? What happened? You can be like, oh, okay, I can see it dropped. It started to pick up. It accelerated, and it'll help you to connect. How we use the conditions to help provide rails and a current guide to the market. You have your trading log, stock log, option log, the current watch list, top 10 trading mistakes, just a bunch of resources. So get your trading plan and download it and start working on it. Start right in section 4. It's fine. It's fine. Just jump on. It's just like any loop. Just jump on, start working. You'll get your way around the loop. Get a sample plan to work on some other things, start logging. And then also, don't forget, and you're going to see that I can see what work you're doing. I know who's taken what classes. Here we have your first option trade, new members tours, first stock trade, 1 minute snippets, market posture. If you're like, hey, this market posture seems interesting, go watch a video about each component, 15 minutes each. These are longer. There's some great stuff in here, building your plan, learning to trade, learning about options. Each section of the trading plan is broken down over here. You want to know what I can do? I can come in here and I can see who's taken which courses. I can see who's got 100% scores. Vince came on strong. Started in July. Look at him. He's nailed this. Haven't seen him in the room yet. Maybe he's listening to the recordings. If you are, I salute you. Salute you. Yeah. Love it. So get in there and but let me show you what this looks like. View course. This is what you see. You have 6 lessons. The market posture analysis components, long-term trend, short-term trend. So you're like, hey, how do I score the long-term trend? Click here, watch this amazing video. It's not that amazing. It's pretty plain. I don't want to set expectations high. I'm going to under-promise. It's really quite plain. The guy talking is, I don't know, thinks he has jokes, but they're probably not great. So just set expectations accordingly. 10 to 15 minutes, 12 to 15. Oh, this one's only 8 minutes. I'm lying too. He's a liar as well. So be careful about that. And if you ever want to know about, lastly, if you're like the economic calendar, the current watch list, posture, anything that we use, if you're like, hey, how do I run a bullish search? When you do your searches, bam, it's right there. So all of this is just easy. So yeah, go spend some time because there's a lot of stuff in this community for you. And those of you who have been here for a while, don't forget, there's a lot of stuff in here for you. I'm going to move this back for the tour is over. But what are we doing? Make sure you're defining your portfolio heat. How much risk at any given time? How does it fluctuate as conditions change? How much risk on any given trade? How many trades are you willing to take? I know people who like they hit 5 trades and that's their limit. They're just like, I don't like watching more than that. I like to automate as much as I can. I get it though. It's a very personal thing. So you're just kind of making sure those 3 things all connect with each other and make sense. How do you adjust risk? How do you adjust risk specifically correlated to changing market conditions to your current market posture? Part of risk management is hedging. And how do we do that? And what do I mean by a tsunami indicator? That's important. The last thing about risk management is when do you say, hey, you know what? You can't fight your way through a brick wall. Sometimes you got to take a step back, reevaluate, figure out a better solution. If your account draws down by a certain amount, if you have a certain number of concurrent losing trades, 5 in a row. Some people are like, if I have 3 losing trades in a row, I'm like, if you, what? If I don't have 3 losing trades in a row, I wasn't trading that week apparently. So, I mean, not always, but I'm just saying, don't get shook too easily. And then the last one is just, do you recognize that you're out of your flow? You're not trading your best. You're frustrated. You're impatient, right? You're on tilt is what we would call it in poker. As if I'm like some great poker player. I like poker, but on tilt, you're a little bit more emotional than you want to be. Take a step back, refocus, and then come back in ready to go. Yeah, you just what that's telling you when you're out of your trading flow. What it's telling you is the chimp got out of the cage. The chimp escaped its cage, and it's starting to smash on your keyboard. So the professor's got to do some work, get him back in the cage. Okay, look at that. 2 minutes early. That's amazing. Um, Usually I go prattling on for a lot of extra time. Any questions, anyone? How are we feeling? How are we feeling? Market took a dip. Market took a dip and Sandy. Sandy likes my chimp metaphors. Um, yeah, market took a dip, but I think we're okay. Let's not be overly influenced by just that one day today and this week. We'll certainly take it all in consideration, come back stronger next week with an adaptive plan. Amazing. It's good to see everybody. Um, Feeling good. Chimp with the flamethrower. So the flamethrower, I obviously I would have told you if I had used it yet. It's it's ready to go. I've dialed in on the first section of weeds that are going to get cleansed by fire. If you're new, you're thinking, really a flamethrower? I mean, it's just like a kind of like a attach it to your propane tank little blowtorch type thing. Not really a blowtorch like focused for welding, but like, anyways, I'm gonna try to do my weeds by burning them down. I've trimmed them to a certain level so I can just like should be an exciting adventure. This video. I will see you guys Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time, for us to run the posture together. Are we on track with our projections? Let's see what we need to do with our watch list. Perhaps we need to dial in some defensive things if we're going to see a bit of a shift in that regard. If we see sector rotations showing us something along those lines. Otherwise, thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of time with me. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Nice weekend. As always, happy trading.